One of my teammates was fighting Rampage's son. I get there and I run into my sister-in-law. She's like, "Hey, we just saw Rampage," and she told me this whole story about because my nephew, he's young, right? He was like, "Oh, this is Rampage. He fought in the UFC," and he's like, "Oh, like my uncle Brian." He goes, "Oh, Brian, I'm a big fan of Brian," and so she's telling me, I'm like, "You said Rampage said he's a big fan of me." I'm walking around and he's sitting at a cage side table with his family. But I'm like, yeah, he wants to meet me. He said he's a big fan. So I went over and I just tapped him on the shoulder and he didn't turn around. So I tapped him on the shoulder again and he didn't turn around. And I was like, I'm over here, a grown man, UFC fighter. I'm like, "Excuse me, Mr. Rampage." excuse me, Mr. Rampage. And he turned around and he just like nodded and then turned back around. And so in that moment, I was like, yeah, he has no idea who I am.